What's good, family? Welcome back to Hanging with the Hazes. We are here to keep the camping game real, raw, and right on time. Now, listen, a whole lot of y'all have been hitting me up talking about Crazy Keon. We are tired of the tent life. We want an RV. We want the upgrade. So today, I'm breaking it all down. No fluff, no dealership fairy tales and magic, the real cost of RV ownership. We're going to talk gas versus diesel. Y'all know that's a pain in my neck, but nevertheless, we're going to talk about it anyway. Bouge resorts versus the state and national parks. Towables versus drivables. Oil changes that'll make you think twice about your life choices. I'm talking about all of it. Let's get into it right now. All right. The RV dream versus the RV reality. Now, I know that's what y'all want to know. That's why y'all came here. The RV dream is beautiful. You see families out there smiling, kids roasting marshmallows, dogs hanging out the window, and everybody glowing like a brochure, right? But what they don't show you is the bill. It's just what it is. RVs are like relationships. Amazing when they're good, expensive when they're not. Well, I'm going to break it all down to you because it's really not as bad as you think. And before you swipe that card or sign that loan, you got to know what you're getting into. That's what I'm going to explain to you today. So the one subject I try to avoid like it is the bubonic plague, gas coaches versus diesel coaches. Now, people ask me all the time. I run from the conversation because it is the most talked about thing on social media when it comes to RVing. I hate the subject because the bottom line is it really doesn't matter. Here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to separate the real from the fake. And here it goes. It's very simple. Gas coach is going to be cheaper to buy, ultimately cheaper to maintain. Here's the thing. It screams up the mountain like Lord have mercy. And miles per gallon, it really don't matter. We RVing anyway. Who gives a darn, right? Diesel coaches. Yeah, they smooth. Do they pull hills like a champion? Well, it all depends. Let me just say this. 7% is 7%. And I don't care whether you got 530 horses or whether you got 300 horses. The bottom line is at the end of the day, the torque curve tops out. And you're going to be doing 45 miles an hour just like every other truck out there with bigger motors than you. It just is what it is. Is it a quieter ride? Yeah, because the motor's in the back. Whoopee. Miles to the gallon? Again, nobody cares because you're RVing. Now, the cost of ownership, when it comes to a diesel versus a gas, it's called a different tax bracket. It is what it is. And so it boils down to something as simple as this. In plain English, an oil change on a gas RV, $150 if you do it yourself and you get all the oil, or you pay the guy down the street. But if you decide to take it to the local Ford dealership or an RV shop, you're looking at maybe $300. So $150 to $300. I might be a little high. I might be a little low. Don't crucify me. Oil change on a diesel. Let me tell you this. I don't give a doggone if you do it yourself or not. If you do it right and you do it yourself, you're going to be somewhere around $600. The air filter alone on this coach is $300. Then you're looking at a 5-gallon bucket plus 2 quarts of oil. And I said that gallon, 5 gallon versus 5 quarts in a gas. All right. So you're looking at, I'm going to say anywhere from $600 to $1,000 if you do everything that you're supposed to do during an oil change. Okay. So $300 to top, give or take, versus $700, $800, $900. Sometimes, depending on how many filters you have on your diesel, it could get a little bit more. The bottom line is this. You're not changing your oil. You're changing your whole mood. Now, let's talk about fuel itself. Diesel at the pump, if you do not have an open roads or some type of gas savings card, is going to cost you $4 a gallon. It's just what it is, especially if you hit up the local Flying J, Pilot, and you're paying pump price. If you have a diesel, don't do that. Get a discount card and save $1 a gallon. Just is what it is. If you're traveling heavy, and I'm talking about pulling 10,000 pounds worth of trailer, boy. Anyway, it is what it is. Gas. You guys all know what gas is. The problem with the gas coach is you got to find somewhere that you can fit. But Flying J does have decent regular gas, 87 octane prices, and you can get in there and you can get in the lane. So the bottom line is maintenance versus fuel versus whatever you want to spend. The bottom line is if you don't turn wrenches, all of it's going to cost you a little bit. But at the end of the day, Gas Coach will put a couple dollars back in your pocket and you're going to get to the campground and camp just like everybody else. Do not get into that debate with anybody. Just understand, if you decide to go to a diesel, make sure you're in the right tax bracket because she gon' tax you. It just is what it is. All right, y'all. So here's one of these conversations that unfortunately divides the RV family like Thanksgiving dinner. Towables versus drivables. Towable RVs go behind your unit or your whatever you're towing with, like pickup truck or something like that. And your drivables, of course, have a steering wheel, a motor, faux tires, and a drivetrain. Now, the difference between the two when you start talking about the whole camping thing. Towables tend to be less expensive only because they don't have a motor in them. So they're cheaper to buy, easier to insure, or I should say cheaper to maintain to a degree, and you can park the trailer and still have your truck free if you decide that that's what you need. Now, the beauty of a towable typically has to do with ease of maintenance. That's 99% of the reasons why people do it, and that they're, less expensive and easier as a startup RV. Now, here's the downside to a towable, which can make the difference of whether or not you decide to go that route, especially if you're coming from tent camping or, something like that, primitive style camping, and you want to get into the RV game. So the first thing you need is you need the right truck or car to tow it. You're not going to tow a 45-foot fifth wheel with a Yugo. It's not going to happen because you ain't going to go. So you need the right truck or right car, depending on the size of the towable. Towing is not everybody's ministry. Let me just be straight with you. It's easy to pull forward. The question is, can you back up? And it's just it's what that boils down to. Backing up the rig will test your relationship with the lady or however you are. It'll test your faith in God and your worthiness as a man or a woman. If something breaks on a trailer, not really a big issue. You just kind of tow it somewhere, get it fixed, or you tow it and fix it yourself. And at the same time, it's usually cheaper to fix because you don't have an engine to worry about, no oil changes and stuff like that. Maintenance is usually just tires, bearings, brakes, the roof, certain seals, but most importantly, your sanity. Now, when you start talking about a drivable, class A, B, or C, Class A is a big, beautiful home-like thing. It's an expensive toy to buy. It is expensive in relative terms to a trailer to repair. And its biggest issue is it's expensive to store if you can't put it at home. Okay, when something mechanical goes wrong, it can empty your savings account if you're not careful. So keep that in mind. Class B, that's van life vibe. That's just kind of sort of where it's at. I will say that you get the best miles per gallon in that because it's the lighter of the units and it's already on a van style chassis. It's the easiest to drive, but here's the thing about a van that people don't get. The price per square foot is insane. It's ridiculous. You're paying a condo price for just the hallway. And it's just kind of sort of what it is. A nice towable van with all, its own toilet and, bed and galley, you're looking at $125,000, $130,000 to start. That's just what it is. All right. Your Class C is the middle of the road. It's the bigger van type thing. Great for families that are starting out. So if you're looking to go to Disney or something like that and you want to camp, but you want to tent camp at the same time, kind of mix the two, get the kids out, Class C might be it. It is a heck of a lot cheaper to maintain than a Class A because more people will be more open to touching it under the hood. It is definitely a lot more room than a towable most of the time, unless you're talking your bigger fifth wheels or your bigger travel trailers. And the cab over bedroom, it's nice, but let me just be straight with you. It gets hotter than hell. It's like a sauna in the summer. It's just what it is. Somebody my size at 6'2", 230 pounds ain't getting up there. I mean, you can. I'm not. It's just what it is. The bottom line is if you want easy driving, easy to go type stuff, Drivable is probably the way to go. But if you want something budget friendly with a little bit more flexibility and you don't mind driving that big diesel truck around or that big F-150, a towable is just fine. Both will ask for money eventually. That's what I'm saying. The better thing to do, if you decide to jump into that, just make sure you know somebody that can work on it. If you can't work on it yourself, that's like a homeboy or something, or pick up a book and YouTube University it. Learn, read it out of a book, figure out how to fix some stuff yourself. Basic tools fixes 99% of everything. Now, let's move on and talk about the other expensive part, potentially, which you're already used to if you're coming from the world of tents, and that's that bougie camper that wants to stay in a resort, or whether or not you cool with a national park or a state park. All right, so here's the other big debate. Bougie camping versus quote unquote real camping. So a lot of people are going to say that real camping is when you land on the ground in a tent. I mean, listen, I've done my fair share. I won't say that it's real camping, but let me just say this. I like my glamping experience now. With that being said, all campgrounds are not created equal. So you got a couple of varieties out there, but we're going to keep it in two main categories. RV resort style camping versus state park type camping. So your RV resorts, they're going to have pools, outdoor kitchens, laundry services, golf cart parades, and space that actually fits a 40-foot RV. Now, here is the downside to being bougie and camping. You're going to pay for that feeling. It's just what it is. So nightly rates for bougie resort style camping can run you anywhere from like $75 a night up to $200 and more. When you get down into places like Disney and like that it's definitely, whether you got a tent or not, going to run you in that $200 range. Okay. $75 to $80, $90 is going to be what, is going to be your Good Sam Park, your KOA park, something like that. That's right off the road, easy to get to. But like I said, if you want all of those amenities, expect to pay a couple dollars for it. Now, state parks, national park type camping. The one thing I will say about it is I enjoy doing it. They are beautiful, affordable, peaceful, and they got a natural vibe to it with some trees and all that other good stuff. Here's the thing. It's $15 to $45 a night, depending on where you stay. Have I ever stayed in a $15 campsite? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Am I going back? Yeah. Sure. Here's the thing. Some of the spaces can be a little tight to get in because most of them were built back in the 50s and 60s, and they didn't have 50-foot RVs back then. So keep that in mind. A lot of the state parks that have updated, I'll give you one example, Belle Isle State Park in Lancaster County, Virginia. If it ain't in there, it's real close to it. Those are 95-foot pull-throughs or something crazy, ridiculous like that. And the sites were so wide and tree covered that the neighbor next to me could be doing whatever, and I would never know. So depending on where you go, depends on how big the sites are. So that's the thing. One of the things I will tell you, when you get to places like Cadora State Park, up in Pennsylvania, in Hanover, Pennsylvania, you run into this issue of whether or not the site is actually big enough to keep your RV in there, especially if you're over 35 feet. Most sites it might be a little tight. Your car might be sticking out a little bit, but nevertheless, most of them can do it. It is definitely a vibe. You got to want to do that in order to do it. Your hookups are most likely going to be limited to either electric. Some sites have been upgraded to water, electric. Some of your sites have been updated. A lot of them are just going to have electric, which is cool. All right. You just make sure you have enough water and don't stay too long and know where the water spigot is if you need it. Susquehanna State Park up in upstate Maryland. Those are one of the ones that I think they are trying to upgrade. I don't know, but they would be somewhere like that would just have an electric pedestal. You're not getting much more than that. But when you go down like the Pocahontas State Park down below Richmond, Virginia, they're going to have full hookups there because they decided, hey, let me upgrade this stuff and get some people. Now, they also have some more basic and primitive type stuff. But if you got a luxury liner for an RV, they got you covered down there. And they really nice sites, Site 93, to be exact, is one of my favorites. So just keep in mind, in the tree hugger type places, your big Class A rigs may not fit. Your big fifth wheels may not fit. Your longer trailer, tow, like bumper pulls, it's a crapshoot. It's definitely a vibe preference, depending on what you want to do. Bougie camper is for comfort and convenience, as it always is. State national parks are for beauty and budget. That's how I like to look at it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Flat out, know what type of camper you are, and you'll save the most money doing what you want to do. So that's all I got for that one. All right, so I know y'all were waiting on this, so let me just get cut to the chase, right? The hidden costs people don't talk about. I know that's why y'all came here to hear me. Y'all want to hear about this. It's not as bad as you think, but there are some hidden costs that nobody talks about that I'm going to share with you right now. This is the stuff the dealership don't tell you. Storage fees, if you can't keep it at home, you're going to pay. I know people paying $300+ a month. It's just what it is. I have a unit in storage. I'm only paying $125. It is all about location, location, location. Best I can tell you with that is find a campground that's willing to let you store there, follow their rules. It'll probably be the least expensive option for you to store your unit. Generator maintenance. Yeah, those things that keep power going when nothing else is. That's when you want to be off the grid and you just want to have, completely self-contained. You got to maintain that generator. And usually it's just an oil change. If you got a bigger generator, like on a diesel coach or something like that, you got to worry about antifreeze. You got to worry about thermostats and all of that. But your gas units, not typically. It's just, change the oil, make sure your carburetor's clean, all that type of good stuff. Propane refills. Propane has gone through the roof since I started camping. I remember one time you could fill a 20-pound propane tank for $5. Actually, no, I'm lying to you. It was $7.50 to fill it. Now it'll cost you in excess of $20, and usually you can exchange those. The problem is if you have a big unit and the tank is permanently mounted, you got to take it somewhere to do it. And those bigger tanks can run you in excess of $100 if they're on empty. So keep that in mind. Tires cost more than sneakers. Keep that also in mind. Your bigger Class A RVs usually running 22.5 inch rim tires. Those are going to run you maybe $300-$400 a piece if you go with like a Sumitomo or a Toyo or something that's made in China. If you are a snob and you want to run Continental and Michelin and Goodyear, expect to spend $750 a tire. Here's what I will tell you. I've been running Chinese-made tires for 10 years. Never had a problem. Consider it. All right. That being said, with trailers, those tires are a heck of a lot less expensive. You usually can replace those from anywhere from $60 to $150 a piece, depending on your preference. Roof sealing and resealing. You got to make sure that roof is maintained, just like a house, except house has shingles and there's a 25-year warranty on it. With an RV, you got something with plywood, some rubber over top of it typically, and or fiberglass. And should that fiberglass get a hairline fracture in it or something like that, you're toast. But the rubber roofs are much easier to maintain. So you got a cost option there. Just make sure you do your homework. Winterization. Winterization simply means preparing your RV for the winter. Some people introduce antifreeze to their lines to keep things from freezing. Other people like me just blow them out or don't do it at all. I live in it so I can heat it year round. However, if you do not live in your RV, make sure you have a way to blow the air out, the water out the lines, and treat your traps in your sinks and stuff like that. Your shower has a trap in it. You want to treat all of that with some type of antifreeze. Your ice maker lines that are outside and your washer and dryer. Don't forget that if you happen to have one. You just got to make sure that you can effectively winterize it. And that's usually one of the lesser expensive parts of RVing. You're talking a couple $100 if you have to pay somebody to do it. If you do it yourself, you can do it for $25 or less. Here's the biggest thing with RVing. And I'm just going to stop the music here. I need you to hear me and hear me well. There are bougie people that feel like they can't have anything that anybody else owned. For you, God bless you. Glad you're in that price bracket. Good luck. I appreciate you taking the depreciation hit because depreciation is real. RVs fall in value just as soon as you drive them off the lot. They fall in value like they hit the side of a cliff. Boom. And trust me, something always needs tightening, sealing, fixing, replacing, or YouTube tutorialing. It's just what it is. So with that being said, keep in mind 30% as soon as you drive it off the lot. Make sure you put a down payment big enough in it that if something happens, the insurance company is going to write you a check and not you write a check to the finance company. If you can write a check for it all at once, great. You're doing so much better. Just keep in mind, buy brand new, 30% of the hard-earned cash that you just put down is gone. It's just the way that it is. So to wrap it up, is RVing worth it? Hell yeah, absolutely. If you love the outdoors, family time, the freedom of it, new places and memories that actually last, RVing is unbeatable. Here's the thing. You got to go in it with your eyes open. You got to budget right. Know what you want. Pick the right rig. And do not let Instagram fool you. RV life is beautiful, but it ain't free. It's just what it is. If you're thinking about upgrading from a tent to an RV, do your research. How about you shoot me there's my email. Shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about anything you want because I love doing this lifestyle. This is all I've known all of my life. Rent before you buy if you have that option, and make sure your wallet and your wanderlust are on the same page because 99% of the time they ain't. Let's cue the music, Funky Skunk. Bring it back in because all I want to say is this has been Hanging with the Hazes. Until next time, family, stay safe, stay smart, and stay rolling. We want to hear your stories. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I am Crazy Keon, and we out of here in 2 and 2.